When I first started using Stable Diffusion, I wasted so much time just fiddling with different settings, different prompts, this and that. So I'm going to save you that time by showing you some of the really important tips that are going to let you bring your ideas to life as quickly as possible. And I'm going to show you one tip at the end that I can't believe I didn't know for literally months, but it is a game changer. Number one is to start creating a keepers folder from day one. So whether it's something you generated yourself or you just found online, all of that metadata, the prompt, and all of the other details about the image are usually saved in that image. So what I would recommend for everyone is to go into your outputs folder, create a new folder, and I call it keep for prompts. I give it a little underscore so it's always at the top. And then that way, when you encounter something cool, save it in here. This is just a couple generations I was doing while I was creating this video. This one I quite like, so I'm going to just drag and drop it into the keep for prompts folder. Once you have a catalog of images, you can always go into the PNG info tab here and drag and drop your images right here. And then you'll see the positive prompt, negative prompt, and all the parameters for that generation. From here, if I want to iterate on that, I can just say send to text to image. Instead of a cat god emperor, let's do a dog god emperor. It's a pretty cool result, and I didn't have to waste time building anything from scratch. One important thing to keep in mind is that when you're looking at PNG info, it will tell you the model hash and the name of the model if it's available. When you send this to text to image or image to image, it won't necessarily change to that model. So pay attention to that if you're not getting the results you expect. The next one is when you inevitably start playing around with other models rather than the base 1.5, read the description of the model. The creator oftentimes includes some helpful language on how to properly prompt this model, and they'll give you some examples. Many of them are fairly basic and will just give you a good starting point with a good negative prompt, but some of them have entire user guides for them. This is the RPG model, and if you open this PDF, you'll see there's an entire document on how to properly prompt this model. This one even includes a workflow of starting with a seed going all the way to a high-res image. These creators really know their models, so feel free to click into here, steal some prompts, or drag and drop the images you like into your Keep for Prompts folder for later. Next is to start building up a library of styles. In this dropdown here, you can select a style that you've created, select it, and then hit Apply Selected Styles, and that'll just send it over to the prompt. So instead of lightning striking the tree of life, let's do a portal to the underworld swirling with energy. And there we have something pretty cool already. So what I recommend is when you're in PNG info, you found something you kind of like, you send it to text to image. If I want to reuse a style like this in the future, I can just go to Save Style. And here I recommend giving it also the name of the model, because not all models will be able to use the same types of templates that we're creating here. So I'll call it Dreamlike, and let's call it Epic Lightning. Hit OK. And now this style will pop up into this menu right here. If you're starting from scratch and you have zero prompt written right here, you can just come in here, select Epic Lightning, and then hit Apply Selected Styles, and it pops right back up. I also recommend creating just generic type of styles. So this is just like a standard positive only prompt that if I'm starting from scratch, I can just throw this in here and I know I'm going to get something fairly high quality and fairly realistic. And of course, you can do the same thing for negative prompts. If you end up with a prompt that you saved the style and you don't want it anymore, there's nowhere in the user interface to do that, so I'll show you how you can delete that. First, go to your main Stable Diffusion Web UI folder, scroll down to styles.csv, open it with Notepad or some other text editor, and you'll see all of your styles here, starting with the name of the style, quotations for the positive prompt, then the negative prompt, and then a return. So here at the very bottom, if I want to get rid of this, I can just backspace over that, make sure I'm not deleting anything else from another prompt, save it. After that, if you go into Stable Diffusion, you'll see that the style is still there. Once you hit refresh, the style goes away. The next tip is about sampling methods. So for the most part, you really don't need to worry too much about what sampler you use. A lot of people will just stick with Euler A and they get very good results. The other popular one is this DPM++ 2M Keras or DPM2 Keras. Those tend to be popular. But I want to just point out DDIM because it is unique because it gets results really quickly with a small number of steps. So I'm using my cat god emperor prompt here, and with just 10 steps, you can see how incredibly fast the generations are, and the results are not bad either. They actually look quite good. So especially early on when you're like writing a prompt and iterating on stuff really quickly, and you just kind of want to see what that result is, I recommend switching over to DDIM, run like a small batch count. Sampling steps of 10 is just fine. Do your generation, and then you'll get a selection of different images you can choose from, and then maybe you take the seed from one of those images, change to a different sampling method and continue, or just keep using DDIM. It's really fast. And then finally, this last one is a bonus tip. I can't believe I didn't know this for so much longer, but when you're working on prompts, sometimes you want to add additional weight to a prompt. You either do that with the parentheses around it, 1, 2, or 3 sets of parentheses, or you see that colon, point 1.2 or something like that. To quickly change the weight, you can actually just highlight some words, hold control, hit the up arrow or down arrow, and it will adjust that weight up and down. So insanely useful to be able to just quickly change the weights of things. So that's it. There are a million more tips I could have included, but I wanted to keep it fairly short. So leave your favorite tips in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.